Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're going to get started right on time because I know we have a lot to cover in a short amount of time together. Thank you so much for joining our Lunch and Learn series. I will stop sharing momentarily to allow everybody to be nice and big while we introduce ourselves and the event. So thanks for joining. Today, we're going to be learning a little bit about how San Jose State University's Educational Opportunity Programming Department integrated proactive mental and emotional wellness workshops into their summer bridge program. And my name is Simone Figueroa. I'm the president and co-founder of Youth Thrive Educational Services. And I would love to introduce our esteemed guests, who are the masterminds behind implementing these workshops and really did all the hard work to get this up and running. So just a little bit about our EOP department team here from San Jose State University. We're joined by Dr. Tejan White, who is the Educational Opportunity Program Director at San Jose State University. He has been working at EOP since 2020 and has over 20 years of experience working in higher education. We are also joined by Crystal Murguia, and she has worked within San Jose State University's EOP department for over 5 years. She has served as an academic advisor and currently oversees EOP's mentoring programs as an EOP transition support program coordinator. And lastly, we are joined by Angelica Gomez, who is the lead student success advisor for the EOP program at SJSU. And she has been working at EOP since 2019 and has over 6 years of experience working in higher education. And together, Tejan, Crystal, and Angelica all identified as first-generation limited income students themselves and are passionate about supporting and empowering underserved populations. So let's give a warm welcome. We're so excited to have the three of you here today. And with that, we will jump right in. Let me share my screen again and get this presentation back up and running. Okay. All right. Can you see my screen okay? All right. Awesome. Thanks for the thumbs up. So for those of you who we've not had the pleasure of partnering with, just a little bit of background information on our organization, Youth Thrive Educational Services, before I turn it over to our guest today. So our mission is to proactively equip college students with the skills needed to manage stress, become more resilient, and as we like to say, not just survive, but truly thrive throughout their college experience and beyond. And we do this by providing a variety of curricular and co-curricular solutions rooted in the three evidence-based fields of positive psychology, mindfulness, and self-compassion. And where we really fall on the continuum of providing support to students with respect to their mental health is we're really all about proactively building mental wellness. So giving students the skills and tools that they need to handle the normal stressors and trials and tribulations that they're going to face during this pivotal time in their life, hopefully before crisis happens, before things snowball and get out of control, so they can use them to help support them during this time. And we believe that it is important to take a campus-wide approach to supporting student mental health, that the responsibility should not fall solely on the shoulders of counseling departments, which I'm sure that a lot of you who are here agree with that, which is one of the reasons that you're here today. And the way that we suggest doing this by taking this campus-wide approach is through an integrated delivery. So what that means is really meeting students in the places and spaces that they already are to bring this kind of programming, this curriculum, co-curriculum to them in multiple touch points throughout their college journey. So they're having exposure to really show that we have a campus of care, a culture of care on our campus, and we really value and care about students' mental health. So with that, where are we going today? So the agenda, what we're going to cover is we're going to provide a little bit of background information on San Jose State as an institution, as well as the EOP program specifically and their department, a little bit about the students that they serve and who attend the institution. Then we will move into talking about The implementation details how these proactive mental and emotional workshops were integrated into their summer bridge program. And lastly, we will go and move into results and lessons learned, and then of course open it up for any questions and thoughts. So please feel free to use the chat, use the Q&A function. We'll be monitoring it, and we'll leave some time at the end. And so with that, I will turn it over to our lovely EOP department.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us, or afternoon, I should say. It's here. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning in California. But a little bit about San Jose State University. We are in the heart of Silicon Valley. It's a large California State University. We enroll over 36,000 students, of which about 27,000 are undergraduate students, and anywhere between 28 to 42% of our students identify as first generation students, understanding that how that is defined differs from place to place. And then again, about a third of our students are first year FROSH or first year transfer students. So yeah, not over 9,000 students. Yeah, being in California, being in Northern California in the Bay Area, we have a diverse student population, and it's really something that we take pride in, but also offers its a unique set of challenges. So next slide. So about our program, the EOP program has a long history in California. It's been active, it has a long legacy, started in the civil rights movement in 1969. We're about to celebrate our 55th year of doing this work. We are really dedicated to supporting the admission, retention, and timely graduation for first generation limited income students. We receive state funds in order to do that work, as we support historically underserved students. We're also committed here at SJSU to establishing a positive college experience. We want our students to feel valued when they're on campus, so we take a very holistic approach in supporting the students. Our program serves about 2,000 students annually, and of those students, their racial identities come in at about 55% as Hispanic or Latinx, another 33% as Asian, 4% Black, 4% white. And then we'll have 3% who consider themselves multi-ethnic, and then the remaining 1% is our API and Native populations. Yeah, as I mentioned before, EOPs is established to make sure that our students have a positive experience when they're at SJSU, that they have access to the resources that they need, that they know that they have people who care about them and are going to help them, you know, thrive during the experience. And our Summer Bridge program is a program that basically bridges our incoming FROSH students as they are, or yeah, incoming FROSH students as they exit high school and enter a four-year institution. So I'm gonna pass it on to Crystal, who's gonna talk a bit more about that Summer Bridge program.
Thanks, Tejan. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Crystal, and a little bit about our Summer Bridge program. So we started our partnership with Youth Thrive this past summer for our Summer Bridge 2023 program. It was a fully online program. All sessions were provided on Zoom. Our Summer Bridge program is a 4-week program where each week is divided into a separate theme. And all of our incoming students were required to participate in at least 2 out of the 4 workshops that were provided. We provided one every single week, depending on the theme that we had for that week for our program. And then you can go to the next slide now. And they were delivered via Zoom, and it was a great opportunity for our incoming students to hear a little bit more from our professional staff here. So those presentations were facilitated by our EOP advisors. Most of our program is based on our peer mentors, and so they are kind of going through the process with our students during the summer. And so we really wanted to add our professional staff into the program, where it allowed our students to be introduced to staff prior to the fall semester starting. So this was a great opportunity to partner both with UDrive and bring our advisors on staff to present. Our presentations really ranged from 65 to 178. 178 was a really large number. And as you can imagine, that was more in the beginning, and then it kind of trickled down as our program got closer and closer to the fall semester starting. Each session was about 60 minutes, and it was a workshop presentation style where we facilitated different activities with them and allowed for audience participation during the workshops. And then at the end, we allowed 15 minutes at the end to kind of wrap up the information, ask some students some questions, making sure that they were really grasping the information and topics we were covering. And again, allowed opportunity for them to ask questions about those topics. During each week, as I mentioned earlier, we covered 4 different topics that Youth Thrive provided documents and guides for us to facilitate those workshops. Out of the different workshops that were provided, we chose to present on growth mindset, on relationships to others, self-resilience, and self-compassion. These were the workshops we felt were the most inclusive and intentional for our students that we were having, and for our first-gen limited income students. All workshops were recorded and also provided on our Canvas shell, which is our learning management system that we use here at San Jose State. And out of our participants, as I mentioned earlier, all incoming students were required to participate in our program. So we had about 438 students that were accepted into the program, but of that, we had 291 accept our Canvas shell, and about 247 participated in our UDrive presentations. And we got really good participation and feedback from our students. And some of the results went from 85% that found the workshops to be really helpful and engaging. 80% felt more confident after hearing the content that was given, and they felt their ability to be more successful in college after engaging their workshops, to be more confident, ask more questions, and engage with the community. And each week, on average, about 94% of participants wanted to learn more about each of these topics. We cater each survey after every week according to the topic, but we always ask at the end if this was something they wanted to continue learning about, so we can find ways how to implement these topics as the semester went on for the academic year.
So as Crystal mentioned, hello everybody, my name is Angelica again. As Crystal mentioned, we were so impressed and lucky from the responses and the feedback that our students share with us on those surveys that we implemented at the end of every workshop during those 4 weeks that we were doing the workshops. So as you can see, the students that the youth presentations were really helpful and reliable to their experience as they were transitioning from high school to college. They also thought that the resources and tools that we were using based again on the Youth Thrive guides and workshops and presentations that we receive, they thought that they were really helpful in terms of dealing with stress, their well-being, and also the mentoring that they were receiving as part of the Summer Bridge program. They also thought that the topics that we share with them were a really good introduction for them to start thinking about those topics as they were entering college. And also because there were topics that they have never heard before in their lives so far. And again, just really good topics that were going to help them with that transition from high school to college. And also they thought that they having an environment where situations are talked about really reassured them that they were going to receive the support that they needed to be successful as they were starting their career here at EOP at San Jose State. And also really thankful to the staff that took the time to provide those workshops and information to the students. So with that, we're gonna go to the next slide. So what are some of the lessons that we learned as we did this for the first time the last summer? So some of the things that work really well, again, is that the topics that we had previously put in place for Summer Bridge align really well with the EOP curriculum, align really well with the topics that were provided by Youth Thrive and the 4 workshops that we implemented. Also, our students, again, were really engaged in the virtual setting. Again, all of these workshops were done via Zoom. We were a little bit nervous about the engagement from the students, since, again, it assumed some students might be engaging, some others were not. And again, all of the advisors, we were super, super happy and impressed with the how engaging the students were on the chat. Throughout the workshop, we try to create different opportunities and questions and polls for the students to engage with us on the chat. And it was amazing just to see the chat blowing up every time that we had those type of polls and questions for the students to engage with us, and also for us to check for understanding. A lot of those questions were also, again, for us to make sure that the students were paying attention, and it looks like they were paying attention and they were taking away the things that we wanted them to take away from those presentations that we were doing for them. Now, some future considerations and recommendations for the future. As we were preparing for the presentations and as we were presenting, we were really mindful of making sure that finding ways to connect the topics to recent high school graduates. We wanted to make sure that we were making connections that were relatable for students who don't have that college experience. We had to tweak a little bit some of the information that was given to us, again, to make sure that the students were able to understand it. And also with that, we modify a little bit of some of those complex terms and language. I think that's one of the recommendations we have, that is making sure that those high caliber language that was used to, again, make it more digestible and understandable for students that are just graduating high school and don't have any college experience. And lastly, include more student feedback and videos. We found that when we highlighted student experiences and voices during our presentations, the students were more engaged when the information were presented to them, again, when it was presented by other students than experts in the field.
Yeah, that's basically it. I would just want to just wrap up in saying, yeah, the EOP, we take a holistic approach to student engagement and student success. Youth Thrive has helped us build mental health and wellness with our FROSH population, and we're looking at other ways to support our continuing students and continue to integrate these practices within our advising sessions, within our mentoring sessions, and other aspects of our student success curriculum.
Thank you so much for sharing more and really going into the details of how you were able to implement this and integrate it into your existing Summer Bridge program. And we'd love to open it up now if anybody has any thoughts, any questions, any ideas about how perhaps they could see implementing some of these materials and the work that they do with students on their campus. So love to open it up for conversation and to hear from anyone and everyone.
Yeah, and we plan to definitely use it this summer as well as we prepare for our 2024 Summer Bridge program.
Jennifer asked, how long was each Zoom session?
60 minutes. And yeah, it wasn't a webinar. It is a regular Zoom session. And 45 minutes was dedicated to the content and polls and things, and then 15 minutes just to make sure students' questions were answered, and if they had specific context that they wanted to apply that wasn't addressed necessarily within the 45 minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
Lauren asked, was this a requirement for students to attend? And if so, was it part of tuition or a separate fee that they had to pay?
Yeah, so our EOP program, our statewide program, is funded through public funds, and so the students don't have to pay anything to receive any of the EOP services. They do need to apply and they need to be accepted, but once they are, all the services that we offer are completely free. They are required. We I try to say we offer a grant of to our students, and grants obviously are free money, but our students have to earn them. So we do have certain requirements for for our students to stay engaged with us. We believe that those requirements are beneficial to their students' ability to succeed at the college level. So Summer Bridge is a way for us to get a kickstart so that our students start their first year on a positive note with the confidence and competencies necessary to be successful. We do allow students to have some exemptions. So many of our students work, many of our students take care of family members, whether that's siblings or elders or what have you. And so we do have an appeal process for our students to let us know whether or not they are unable to attend, but we've structured the summer program in a way that students are only really dedicating about an hour a day for those 4 weeks, so about 16 hours over the course of a summer, so that they can get access to the information. Again, as Crystal mentioned, we have a Canvas, which is our learning management system that allows students to get connection with some of this material asynchronously, so not in real live time, but we also presented webinars in live time, recorded those, made those available so that our students could watch it, at 12 o'clock at night or 3:30 in the morning, whatever schedule that they had. Hope that addresses the question.
We have another question. What were some challenges that were faced when building these workshops?
I'll pass it off to members of my team.
I think I can go ahead and start. I think one of the challenge that we saw was, as I mentioned, this was the first time our professional staff has engaged in our summer bridge program. Usually it's just the person that oversees it. For example, I'm currently in the role, so it would be me and all of our student mentors. So it was an additional to organizing the whole program is also including time for our professional staff to be included and making sure we were finding topics that were also aligned with the weekly topics that we were assigning as well. And then once we were able to get the information from U Thrive, then being able, as Angelica mentioned, being able to kind of dissect that information and make it digestible for basically high school graduates to understand things that they were experiencing but haven't really put into context or in vocabulary. For example, we talked about a PERMA motto is positive thinking. So having them talk about that, having them talk about growth mindset, about grit. Those were all new things that we were teaching and reviewing information and applying it to lived experiences that they had. And so being able to look at our first gen population and the context that U Thrive was presenting and kind of like make our own, which was something that Simone and them were really open to kind of catering their information to our student population.
Thanks, Crystal. Yeah, just to add on to that, we really try to provide foundational information that can be used with any student from any walk of life, any background, and then working with each individual implementer and institution to tailor that content based on their unique student body and population. We had another question. Did engagement in the Summer Bridge program increase engagement in EOP for first generation students or students in general?
Yeah, we believe it does. We have evidence that shows that when students engage with us in the summer, that they're more likely to engage with us in the fall. And so, as we all know how important the first year of your college journey is for first generation limited income students. So getting a head start on that and giving, like I said, those students the confidence that they already have many of the tools they need to be successful, and that they just need to uh, be competent in their way that uh, um, they use the assets that they already been given, and then also to reach out for to support when they do reach those challenging moments. And everyone experiences those challenges. We just don't know when those things are going to come or how they're going to impact our ability to continue to progress through our education. So yes, the data, we have, I think right now, like 95% of the students who engaged in the summer also met with their advisors in the fall. And then those students are also more like, well, I will say this, students who don't engage with us in the summer are more likely not to engage, to persist into the spring semester. So that first semester persistence is impacted from engagement in the summer. That's why we require every student to do summer bridge.
Someone asked, is it possible to share the schedule that you used for the 4 weeks for the summer bridge?
Do we have that posted on our website somewhere? I know it might be in our Q&As. Sorry.
We have it on our Canvas module, our calendar. And we have our weekly themes, but that can be something we can put together and share.
Yeah. I mean, to give a brief overview, we start off each week with we call it a webinar, but where we just kind of lay out what's going to happen this week, what the theme is. We have a common read, what activities. So when the Youth Thrive workshop was going to be held, we also had workshops with campus partners. We want our students to know who they can contact, and then they have meetings that they schedule with their mentors. And so that's the loose schedule, but the timing and days for each of one of those events, like Crystal said, we could share that out. We're adjusting it this year. We're trying to make them more around noon time so that students who work can maybe take their lunch break and jump on their phone and get involved. So I don't know if you want last year's or what we intend to try to do this year.
Thanks, Tajan. Anything that you want to distribute, you could send to me, and I'll be happy to send to those individuals that requested it.
Sounds good.
Well, I don't see any other questions here. Oh, yes. So thank you. Someone asked if the slides will be available. So we always send out a recording of the presentation for you to review after or to circulate to other colleagues that you think might be interested. So we will be sending that out most likely either sometime later today or tomorrow to everybody that registered and attended. And for those of you that are interested in taking a peek behind the curtain, so to speak, and actually learning a little bit more about the curriculum and the activities and exercises that were done in these workshops, Crystal mentioned the PERMA model. We actually, on Thursday, my colleague Dawn will be doing a learning lab where she will be talking all about well-being and going into this PERMA model framework and looking at some exercises and activities that can actually be used with students. So I will put a link in the chat there for anybody that is interested in coming. It will be at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. And there's the link to register. We'll also be circulating that link in our follow-up email after this. And really, I think that's what we had for you all today. We are right on time, ending 1 minute early. So maybe it'll give you a moment to get up and stretch, or take a quick breather before rushing off to your next activity. But just a real thank you to our amazing partners at SJSU and the EOP department. This has been such an incredible partnership, and watching the positive feedback that students have provided from their participation in these workshops and all that they've learned and have been able to implement. And we're looking forward to continuing. And if anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we look forward to seeing you at future events. Thanks so much, everybody.